So I knock on the door, introduce myself to the patient, and I'm setting up the room, clean up the table first. I'm laying my supplies down. I'm getting it all situated. I'm explaining to the patient, like, hey, my name is Smith Smart. I'm going to be taking care of you. You just have to take this IV so that we can get you back to your procedure so you can go home to your loved ones. I have my own little spiel. So, patient was very, I believe they were upset. They were like, dude, this always happened. Like, they didn't poke me all this time. I said, if I don't get you in the first poke, baby, you ain't got to worry about me poking you again. So then, I don't even know if this was a male patient or female patient, but that's not even important. So whatever. Patient was like, oh, so you got it like that, huh? I'm like, for sure, baby. So I get all my stuff ready, and guess what? Guess what happened? After I didn't talk all that big talk, like, oh yeah, for sure, baby. First time, baby. You ain't got to worry about me poking you twice. Guess what happened? I got that IV. And guess what Dr. South said? He said, well, first of all, he didn't know who I was. So he was very intrigued and interested. Like, he was, like, curious as to who got that IV because none of them could get it. So then, I don't know who told him I did it. Somebody told him I did it. So then he was like, oh, who was that? So he came find me, and he was introduced himself and all this stuff. So I felt good on the inside because I'm like, give me a challenge, baby. I'm up for it. So, I got the IV or whatever, and it felt good. But it also put another target on my back on top of being PLC. Because now, I'm literally, like, people project their feelings onto you all the time, right? And I'm good at what I do because I had to learn. I worked at a hospital in St. Louis, Barnes Jewish, and we did total patient care, and I worked day shift, and we were all travelers. We didn't have no techs, we didn't have any CNAs, so we had to do no phlebotomists, like, we had to do it all. So I had gained a lot of experience while I was travel nursing. Like, at first, it was challenging, but it taught me so much. But anywho, so I had experience, so I knew I could get the IV, and if I didn't, then I'm like, I can't get it. Let me go get somebody else. And I don't like causing people pain. I know that's crazy because people like, what, you a nurse? I'm like, but I still don't like causing people pain. So the patient was very appreciative of the whole idea that I introduced myself. Like, I'm always cleaning my hands. Shoot, I tell doctors, okay, let me tell y'all this funny story real fast. So this other PA that I worked with at another hospital, Aurora, when I was a CNA, and I seen the PA come out of the room with, like, isolation gown, gloves, all that stuff on. So I was like, excuse me. I was so timid back then, like, I wasn't able to speak up, But anywho, so I was like, excuse me, but you're not allowed to speak. I'm like, you're not allowed to be in the hallway with that on. And I knew he was like a doctor or something. I didn't know his title at the time, but he had on a white coat. So I'm like, he got to be like a doctor or something. And so then he said, I know, I'm a PA. I was like, well, excuse me. I didn't say that, but in my mind I was thinking that. But my whole face, I kid you not, it was completely red. I was super embarrassed. But I didn't feel bad either because at the end of the day, like, I'm protecting everybody. I don't care who I have to tell. That's how much I am into policy and procedure. So this ain't no new thing. This had been ongoing, like, when I was a CNA. But come to find out, he hadn't even entered, like, he didn't really enter in the room, like, because you have to have the things, like the card and stuff on the outside. So I caught the tail end of it. Like, I didn't see that he was in the room. He was actually getting ready to go into the room. But he was still in the hallway, gowned up and stuff like that. So it's always important. Like, you can see everything with your eye, but did you see it all? You got to make sure that you're seeing it all. Like, sometimes you just don't. So don't be so quick to judge. But anywho, so yeah, that's that funny story. Because I was like, and then he always teased me. Like, it was so funny. But anywho, so I get the IV and all that stuff. So, but that put a target on mine because now people are thinking like, oh, she must think she better than us. But maybe that's my projecting, thinking that they thinking that. But the way that they treated me, it definitely felt like I was right. Okay? And it wasn't just me that noticed it. Like, it was this another guy that didn't look like me. He was of another I don't know why we gotta be so sensitive about it. He was a white man, shoot, and that was my road dog. He was an older man, but he was so kind. Ken was his name. He was so kind, and he had my back. And he was like 60 something years old, but he had my back because he knew they wasn't treating me right. And he was like, he stood 10 toes down behind me. He ain't even gonna lie. Whatever, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Like, yep, all right, Nurse Mark, what's the plan for today? I love that man. He was like a dad, honestly. Like, he was wonderful. I miss him. Ken, if you ever see this, hey. But, anywho, so he was saying how it wasn't right and stuff like that. Like, I shouldn't have to be going through this. But I told him I didn't want him to speak up because, like, you getting ready to retire. I don't want them to come after you and, like, all that stuff. So I'm very mindful of other people. Like, I know that I'm built for this. I know that I can withstand it. I know that I can persevere. And not saying that he can't. That's not what I'm saying by any means. But I'm just saying, like, I'd rather me go through what I got to go through because it's only making me stronger. Like, it's only making me stronger. So, I'm trying to think if it was, like, more things that happened at that facility. Because it was so much, man. Oh, it was so bad. Like, my stomach would get upset. I would have, like, super TMI, diarrhea. Like, your body, the things that's going on in your life externally affects it internally. Like, that's why you have to keep that positive mindset and try to keep that balance. Because I didn't know that back then. I didn't know. I didn't meditate. I didn't pray. I didn't know. I didn't have boundaries. It was just a lot. But my body was taking a toll. Like, I had to. So I'm 35 right now. I must be 36. So I must have been like 30. I'm so horrible. I don't feel like doing the math. I'm just gonna guess and say 33. 33? Yeah, probably like 33. So why do I do that? I always forget where I left off at. Yeah, I forget where I left off at, and I'm not about to go back and rewatch to see either. So if y'all catch it, then comment it in the section, and then I'll just make a video starting from that point. But at that facility, I think that was pretty much that wasn't the only thing. Trust me, and I know some more stuff will come to my memory at a later time. But for now, that's it for them. So then I worked at one hospital I worked at for 11 years, probably like 11 and a half years, 12 years. It was a while. But that's because I started as a CNA, and then I transitioned nurse extern, and then a nurse, and so on and so forth. But, so I worked at St. Joe's in Milwaukee, and I worked in the ER. But what I didn't realize that in the ER, it's like kind of hard to remain sterile, like, because everything is fast-paced. But remember, I'm like policy procedure. Like, I want to make sure I'm keeping everything clean and stuff like that. I didn't realize. See, it's so tricky because it's never acceptable to not be sterile and clean and stuff like that by the book, by the law. If anything would have happened and you didn't, you know what I mean? But then it's like, in reality, when you're in the field, you can't really do all that. But I was still trying to do all that. So yeah, I was still explaining everything to my patients, what I'm about to do, set up my stuff, everything clean. It took me a couple weeks. Like, I'd never worked in the ER before, so that was new for me. So it took me a little bit to get comfortable with not being, I'm not gonna say perfect because nobody's perfect, but not being perfect. It was hard for me to like change. I don't like change a lot. Like, it's just make my anxiety go haywire. So anywho,